Hi, I'm Jim Stroud, and this is my podcast. Earlier this year, something extraordinary was being reported in the news. For the first time in American history, there were more jobs than people out of work. To be specific, in June 2018, there were 6.7 million job openings, but only just 6.4 million available workers to fill them. This, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Employers have been complaining for years about the inability to find workers with the right training for the positions available. In the meantime, companies are adding other incentives to retain workers and pull in new ones. As the demand grows, workers have gotten more confident about leaving their current positions for better ones. So, what is HR to do? One solution might be human cloning. If that sounds crazy to you, then you are not current on the recent developments in the science of cloning. I'll give you an update and speculate on how it could potentially affect your HR department after this message.
The fourth annual Evolve Summit is coming to the Czech Republic, November 13th and 14th, 2018. You do not want to miss the greatest recruiting and sourcing conference of CEE. 3 stages, 28 speakers from around the world, presenting workshops and lectures on the future of recruiting, gamifications, chatbots, recruiting analytics, and so much more. For more information, visit the conference website at www.evolvesummit.cz/en.
Here is a quote from Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology News. Quote, using embryonic stem cells and gene editing, healthy mice have been bred from 2 mothers for the first time. The bimaternal mice not only lived into adulthood, they successfully reproduced with male mice to produce healthy offspring. Mice were also produced from 2 fathers, but did not live past a few days. The work was published recently in the journal Cell Stem Cell in a paper titled Generation of Bimaternal and Bipaternal Mice from Hypomethylated Haploid ESCs with Imprinting Region Deletions. Fancy. Co-senior author Qi Zhao, PhD, professor at the State Key Laboratory of Stem Cell and Reproductive Biology at the Chinese Academy of Sciences in Beijing, China, says, we were interested in the question of why mammals can only undergo sexual reproduction. We have made several findings in the past by combining reproduction and regeneration, so we tried to find whether more normal mice with 2 female parents or even mice with 2 male parents could be produced using haploid embryonic stem cells with gene deletions. End quote. Translation. Chinese scientists have cloned mice from 2 female mice just to see if they could do it, and they did. That was reported on October 12, 2018. Meanwhile, in Japan, scientists were creating human egg cells from blood samples. Here's a quote from the Daily Star. Quote, Japanese experts made the immature human egg cells from human blood using cutting-edge stem cell testing techniques. Although these eggs cannot be grown into babies as they were too immature, the research could pave the way for this type of experiment. The team made the egg cells by using blood to create induced pluripotent stem cells, which were then inserted into artificial ovaries. It is thought that in the future, this technique could allow infertile people to have children as well as same-sex couples to have kids that come from both people's DNA. End quote. Now, I really should stop here, but I can't help myself. Here's another quote from that same article. Here. Scottish scientists were slammed in 2012 when they said that they hoped to fertilize lab-grown eggs, but the latest research goes further than ever before and could even see babies made from people who have died. Ronald Green, a bioethicist at Dartmouth warned cloning is the next step from here. He said, for example, it could open the door for cloning people who may not have given their consent. A woman might want to have George Clooney's baby, and his hairdresser could start selling his hair follicles online. So we suddenly could see many progenies of George Clooney without his consent. End quote. Isn't that freaky? Yes, I believe it is. Yes, it is. It is quite weird. But I digress. What does all that have to do with your HR department? Okay. Bear with me because I feel a lot of random thoughts generating in my head here. Are clones people as we think of people, or are they property? Since they were made in a laboratory, were they truly born and as such deserving of full citizenship in whatever country they originated in? Whether they were considered human or not, could they be taught a skill? If yes, could they be conditioned to do tasks that natural humans prefer to be undesirable, say dealing with hazardous materials? If yes, what would it do to the job market to have an unlimited supply of trainable workers? Wages would go down for sure as competition for jobs would go up. The fear of robots taking jobs away would be eclipsed, by a near irrational fear of workers who look just like us. As controversial as it would be to hire clones, no doubt companies would employ them to save money, even if politicians created a series of checks and balances to keep the hiring of clones to a minimum. But not too much to a minimum, not too restricted, as the clone vote would help to keep so many in power. And this is where HR comes in. In this scenario, it's likely that the workers in your company would protest the unfairness of working alongside clones. Some may argue that the clones are being exploited in some way or a variety of ways. And others would resent their presence as artificial humanity, and therefore unworthy of some of the opportunities given to natural-born humans. As a result, workers would sign petitions demanding that clones be removed from the workplace as other workers advocate for their ethical treatment. The controversy around the whole situation takes an adverse effect on the company's stock price, and layoffs become imminent. If you've ever been a student of human nature, then you know there is a ring of truth to this supposition. On the other hand, if you think the scenario of how workers might react to clones in the workplace is too far-fetched, then I would suggest you look at Google. Now, Google will not renew its contract with the Pentagon on its AI drone program because of protests from its own employees. And even now, Google employees are protesting and even quitting because of the censored search engine Google is building for the Chinese market. Will Google capitulate to the workers' demands again? We'll see. Earlier this year, employees from Microsoft, Amazon, Salesforce publicized petitions urging that their CEOs cancel or rethink lucrative contracts with U.S. Customs and Border Protection, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and local police departments out of concern that their software was helping the Trump administration separate immigrant families or could assist police with facial recognition techniques in violation of people's privacy. Just over a year ago, a top Facebook executive defended data collection in a 2016 memo and warned that Facebook could get people killed. Yeah. Here's a quote from that infamous leaked memo. Quote, "We connect people, period. That's why all the work we do in growth is justified. All the questionable contact importing practices, all the subtle language that helps people stay searchable by friends, all the work we do to bring more communication in, the work we will likely have to do in China someday. All of it," VP Andrew Bosworth wrote, "so we can connect more people." He wrote in another section of the memo, "that can be bad if they make it negative. Maybe it costs someone a life by exposing someone to bullies. Maybe someone dies in a terrorist attack coordinated on our tools." End quote. Okay. I've been on a bit of a rant here with my random thoughts and reading all these different quotes. Let me tie it all back together. Cloning is no longer science fiction. It has not reached full maturity yet, but one day soon it will. And when clones hit the labor market, they will cause a very strong ripple effect in our economy and society. No doubt people will protest clones in the workplace, and some will advocate for them. Bottom line, there will be a division among the workers, and that can result in changes in the company policy and company profits as workers revolt internally and or protest openly in public. Workers revolting against company policies and forcing enterprises to change direction is happening now with Google as well as with other major tech companies. Cloning is a future social issue that will vex HR and cause them to debate the legal and ethical stance of the company. How HR handles today's issues of tech workers revolting against how the products they are developing will affect mankind, all of that will be good practice for when the clones come. If you love what you just heard, hate what you just heard, or don't know what you just heard, I want to know about it. You can contact me via my website, www.jimstroud.com, or you can message me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. I'm everywhere. Oh, if you want to support my Starbucks habit by dropping a little something in the virtual tip jar, I will not be mad at that at all. There's a donation link in the podcast description. Thank you in advance.